Okay, so recently, in fact, not very long ago, I put up a video and an article on this channel on browncarguy.com announcing the fact that we were going to have the new second biggest manufacturer out of Japan, which would be as a result of a merger between number 2 and number 3, which would be Honda and Nissan. Nissan, of course, a few weeks prior to that, had actually pretty much put out there that they only have a year to survive and that they need some help. So they were pretty much courting help. They were courting partners and sponsors and what have you. So they put that out, and then I think within a week or maybe 2 weeks at the most, it then began to look like, oh, they're having a discussion with Honda, and then initially it just leaked out, and then eventually they all got together on stage, and it wasn't just Honda and Nissan, but also the representative of Mitsubishi, because Nissan owns part owns Mitsubishi, and they were also up there, and they were all standing up. They're all happy, bowing at each other and being very polite and inscrutable, and going, "Yep, we are now in discussions about merging and creating, this big giant that's going to help us tackle the future of the car scene, and the transition to EVs, which is primarily what this was about. How to get the economies of scale down and how to be able to compete with the Chinese, which is what obviously all the legacy car manufacturers are looking over their shoulders at." So what's happened? Well, this merger is now apparently not happening. And that's because Nissan, the ones who said that they only had a year to live and they were in desperate trouble, have essentially walked away from it. Why? What? I'll tell you what, let me get into that right after this. A brown car guy. Yeah, so this is a bit of a plot twist. Nissan has walked away from a merger that essentially it was desperate to have, by all accounts. He was saying, as a matter of survival. It seemed, and again, like I said, when we talked about the merger when it was first announced, it seemed pretty logical, actually, if you think about it. Two storied and legendary manufacturers from Japan, Honda with such, the Type R heritage and NSX and all the rest of it, and Nissan with the GTR and the Z cars. I mean, these are two iconic JDM car companies, and it was a case of they're teaming up to fight off all of these, XPM, YZ, BYD, GWA, whatever, all these cars that are coming in from China. And I guess for a lot of us, we thought, that's good. The old guard is fighting back, because the Japanese have been caught out a little bit by the whole transition to EV, which is funny for Nissan, because Nissan were amongst the very first to actually get big time into the EV market with the Nissan Leaf. And prior to Tesla, Nissan Leaf was the electric car. It was a bestseller in some countries, I think Norway. And this seemed a logical step because both Nissan and Honda are developing new batteries and new technology going forward. And you think, well, and also because of the supply network they have and what have you, production assembly plants, etc., etc. Nissan, of course, make cars here in the UK as well. So, whereas Honda is now used to, but has actually pulled out. So it looked like it's quite a logical thing to do. Share tech, cut costs, and create a true new JDM, Japanese automotive powerhouse. But Nissan has apparently now, it seems, decided that it wants nothing to do with it, and instead of merging with Honda, they're looking to tech giants like Foxconn. Who and what is Foxconn? I'll get into that a bit later on. But what's happening? Why did Nissan basically decide to cancel the wedding, so to speak, at the last minute? And what does it mean for the future of both of these companies, and what does it mean for you? If you are a fan of these brands and you're hoping that they will be around long enough for you to buy your next car from either or both of them. So apparently Nissan CEO Makoto Uchida, I seen him actually a couple of years ago here, and he was doing a presentation here at the Nissan Design Center in London. And he went over to the Honda CEO's office. This is Toshihiro Mibe. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Anyway, he went up to the Honda boss and he said to him, Nissan wants out. Why? Well, because by all accounts, the way that this merger was shaping up, the way that it was being put together, it very much looked like Honda wanting to be the dominant, very much the dominant partner, and turning Nissan into not much more than a subsidiary. Rather than two meeting of equals and two giants coming together and working together, it was a case of Honda like, yeah, okay, well, we'll take you under our wing. You know what, you can have that bit over there. Set up over there. We'll come to you in a minute. We'll sort something out. It's fine. We'll look after you. It was that sort of arrangement, and. So Nissan would have been entirely under Honda's control, and it would not really be independent. Now, Nissan has had some experience of this, because don't forget, it's had several years of having this similar uneasy relationship with Renault. So I guess the last thing they wanted to do was to come out from under Renault's leadership, and then end up in a similar scenario with Honda. And of course, many people would also, of course, argue that Nissan, the product and the product quality itself, maybe was not true to how Nissans used to be, for example, as I remember them in the 80s and 90s, whilst it was under Renault. Now, where that is actually that sort of thought process is substantiated is by the fact that when this has actually happened, so when this allegedly he went over there and he said, "Nah, thanks, we're not doing this, sorry. Ye shadi nahi ho sakti," if you know what that means. What actually happened in the market, which of course is in essence the true barometer of these things, Nissan shares actually went up. They went up by 7.6% apparently after that news broke. And what does that mean? Well, that's actually a pretty strong sign that investors, Nissan investors, were relieved that Nissan has walked away. This is, again, I'm putting this in context. This is after Nissan had said that they've only got a year to survive, and it seemed like Honda was throwing them a lifeline. But then they walk away, and Nissan investors are like, hey, you did the right thing. Clearly, the market wasn't sold on the idea of this merger. Maybe they saw it as unnecessary, or maybe they thought Nissan has better options elsewhere. Conversely, after this meeting, Nissan shares went up. Honda shares, apparently, according to what I'm finding here, Honda shares went down 3.5%. And again, that means that investors figured that Honda maybe needed this deal more than Nissan actually did. Now, this is a complete role reversal, because everybody thought, oh, Honda's throwing Nissan a lifeline. Nissan's the one in trouble. Honda's okay. But then this break apart happens. The engagement gets called off. And then people are like, well, now Honda's in trouble. Wow. Do they have a point? Well, I mean, Honda, like I said, it has been behind when it comes to EVs. Like I said, Nissan has the Leaf, so it's got strong heritage already, actually, a history already with the EVs. And then they launched the Aria, which I've reviewed. It's on the channel. It's a brilliant thing. Honda, they launched the beautiful little car. What's the name of it now? See, that's how quickly our memories fade, right? I can't even remember the name of it now, but a little modern version of like a Honda City, a Honda Civic, and it was electric, and I've reviewed it. It's on the channel. It's a lovely, lovely little car, but the range was rubbish. I mean, it's like 30 grand plus for a car that can only do about 100 miles. It was never going to fly. Whereas the car itself was so cute, so adorable, so well designed that if they just stuck a proper hybrid engine in there, that would have done really, really well. But anyway, they did that. It didn't work. They've just launched another one, which has got some weird sort of name numbers, that nobody can understand. So they kind of seem, maybe they are struggling a little bit. So what happens is that, so the bottom line to what's happened, if this engagement really has broken off and Nissan has walked away, well, Nissan hasn't just walked away and has walked back to, its begging bowl on the street corner where it was like, oh, please save us, we've only got a year to live. But actually, it seems to have walked away with its head upright, its chest puffed out, and actually walked away stronger. That's what appears to have happened. So if it's not going to merge with Honda, then, what is it going to do? Well, it looks like it's thinking about merging with tech companies. And one of the names that apparently keeps coming up is Foxconn. Foxconn is a company that apparently puts together iPhones and PlayStations. So is Foxconn Chinese? Actually, let me just double check. No, Foxconn is Taiwanese. Foxconn is a Taiwanese company that does this. And it has aggressively been moving into the EV space itself. Apparently, it's looked at partnerships with the likes of Fisker. I thought Fisker was dead now. Anyway, Stellantis and even Apple. So Apple, of course, has also been looking into making cars, weren't they? That's a rumor, or maybe it's real, I don't know. But anyway, Foxconn has been looking into that. Nissan is now looking at Foxconn. And the advantage there is that they would then have access to even more advanced technology, AI technology, software-driven technology, and all that sort of stuff, So maybe it would be less about 1,000 horsepower GTRs and more about basically AI in your car and your friend being your car, and that's what it is. And then, how it's powered and how it drives won't necessarily matter. It's an interesting idea. Nissan does need to do something bold. They are, like I said, they did announce, they did sound the alarm bells not very long ago. They're talking about cutting jobs, restructuring, factories, trying to claw back ground after years of instability being under Renault, for Nissan, that is. And then maybe this tech-driven strategy is actually going to be the right thing for them. But of course, we don't know anything yet. I mean, this is just speculation. I mean, they could, when I first spoke about Nissan, I did say at the time that it would feel like to me that one of the big Chinese companies would come in and either partner with them or take them over. But of course, now we are clear that Nissan doesn't want anybody to take it over. But they maybe were still looking for partners. So that could still happen. And I think it still could actually make sense for the Chinese, particularly if there are tariffs against Chinese. Don't forget, Nissan has a production plant right here in the UK. Hey, are you enjoying this video? Then make sure you hit the like button. It's very important. Plus, comment, share, and make sure you're subscribing. Where does this leave Honda? Well, this is the thing with people obviously aren't that confident in Honda, which probably Honda has more confidence in itself than people have in it, because it's kind of on its own again in this EV race. But they also do have partnerships. They are partnering with Sony, and Sony is now producing a car. I think it's called the Afeela EV or something. That was recently at the CES show, the technology show, the big technology show, and they confirmed that they have a car and they have a concept and that they are going to be making it. And also Honda is looking at in addition to Nissan also doing this, Honda is also looking at solid state battery development. We're talking about, actually, when I was at a press conference a couple of years ago, I think it was with Nissan, or a year and a half ago, and they did say that they were looking at 2026, late 2026, maybe even mid 2026 for solid state batteries. So, but again, if they'd come together, then that would have been a great opportunity for cost saving, economies of scale, right? So just, do the same thing, but do it easier and cheaper because you're bringing these two giants together. But that's now not happening. Is Honda in trouble? Not necessarily, but it could mean that they'll have to step up the game and do it fast and do it on their own. Pretty much, with some strategic partnerships, because the EV market is moving at, lightning speed, for want of a better term, and Honda really can't afford to get left behind. And being a long-term Honda fan myself, I wouldn't like to see that. What does this all mean for you and me, and the car buyer, people that drive these things? We ain't going to get any joint Honda-Nissan cars. So there was speculation about, could we have a Nissan GTR actually coming the next Honda NSX or something like that, or maybe the next Z cars being Type Rs. Yeah, there's not going to be any of those badge engineering collaborations, or at least not that we are aware of. The Nissans may become more tech-focused in future, because more AI-driven, more technology-driven, more software-driven. That could happen. And Honda needs to really get going with looking at EVs, or if it's going to look at, because Honda, of course, don't forget, they were big into hydrogen. Toyota was as well with the Mirai. So they need to look at either alternatives. They need to look at improved plug-in hybridization and look into EVs more than anything else. Although having said that, everything is changing so fast right now, because there is a kickback against EVs, led, of course, by Mr. President in America, Donald Trump. So maybe Honda might have a little bit more time to get its act together. So that might be one thing. So final thoughts on this: Honda is going to walk away. Nissan is going to walk away. Honda's left to go, oh, what do we do now? We thought we were in there, and we thought we were just going to get all their tech and everything and get them and put them in the corner and then get all the tech and sort of keep them alive, sort of thing. What about Nissan? Maybe it could be a smart move. They could find an even better partner, get more independence, and actually do even better. I'll tell you what, it's a fluid scenario. So tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Put them in the comments. Make sure that you that you like, share, subscribe, all the rest of it. And I'll keep on top of this news story. Any new developments, I will update you. Meanwhile, I'll catch you all in the next video. Take care. Hi guys, I've been writing. This is my first book, a novel, an all-out action thriller, and this one is a collection of 13 stories I've written over the course of 2 decades. The Ulysses Files and The Quantum Races by BC Guy are out now on Amazon.com. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does.